Hello. Last time I chatted with you, I was discussing the events that had unfolded the week before. It was dominating the news cycle, and that was the shooting in Parkland, Florida. And since then, some more tidbits of information have been released. There's been more developments. So the story is ongoing. Ordinarily, I don't like to really continue a discussion from one video to the next, but I'm going to do that briefly just to cover one point, and then there's another point that I'd like to make that is related, but it's also part of another story. Alright, so the first thing that's completely and entirely related to the shooting in Parkland is that I have learned that there was a police officer at the school at the time the shooting began. My understanding is the shooting lasted about 6 minutes, and 4 minutes of that shooting there was a police officer standing outside. Now, I don't know, I think it's a police officer, and he just happened to be stationed at the school. That's where he ordinarily was. And he didn't enter the school. He did not confront the gunman. And I also heard he had been a police officer for about 30 years. And I can understand what must have been going through that man's mind. Okay, I've been a police officer for 30 years. I'm ready to retire, and I'm not going to get mixed up in this now, in the 11th hour. I'm not saying I agree with that, but I understand it. You know, when people join law enforcement, I think you take a vow, you pledge to take care of the public. That's why you take the job. So if you're not up for it, if you can't look violence in the eye and stare it down and protect the people, then you have no business being a police officer. I'm just really appalled that this happened. My understanding is that he has resigned. I think that's the right thing to do. He's not cut out for this, but it's unfortunate that he did not come to that realization before all these innocent lives were taken. So many people could have been saved had he had gone in there immediately and shot this gunman. All right. But the other thing that I also want to talk about, and it's, I don't know, I think it's more complex, but it's kind of related, but it's kind of not, because it's happening with this news story, but it's happened with Sandy Hook. And it happened with the Las Vegas shooting. And when I discussed the Las Vegas shooting with you, I did say that it was that was an allegation that was being made, and now the allegations are being made again that these that there really wasn't any victims, that this really didn't happen. I woke up to that today, and I'm disturbed by it. It's really upsetting me. You know, when I found out that it's being said that the victims' birth certificates cannot be found, that there is no evidence that these people ever lived, I was really disturbed, you know, and I went and did my own independent search, and I wanted to debunk what I was reading. It wasn't something that I read. It was a video on Vimeo, and it was the names being published of the victims, and then you could see someone doing an online search on what I believe is Ancestry.com. I tried to emulate that search. I went onto Ancestry.com, but I don't have an account on there. There used to be some free tools on there, but apparently they've gotten greedy. Can't do anything on that website, so it seems. But anyway, I did a Google search, and, you know, we're talking about teenagers here. Okay, a lot of them are on social media. And I did a Google search, and it did not link to any Facebook pages or anything. There was nothing. I tried 2 girls and a boy. There was nothing about any of these 3 victims other than they were involved in this shooting. And, you know, you may be wondering why I even waste my time, that this is just a waste of time. I spoke to a friend last night who lives in Coral Springs, and that's really close to Parkland. And I spoke to him last night about the shooting and about gun control. And so I contacted him today, and I sent him a copy of this link, and he refused to take a look at it. You know, he was bothered by it and didn't want to consider it. And I can understand that, but I am curious. It's like a part of me doesn't want to believe it, and a part of me does. The part of me that wants to believe it is a part of me that doesn't want to believe that 17 people were murdered. Okay? And the part of me that doesn't want to believe it is the part of me that is just appalled that this would be made up. And I can understand why it would be made up. All right? There's a lot of people in this country that want more gun regulations. They want more gun restrictions. And it seems like the NRA is against it. All right? They want everyone to have whatever kind of guns they want. And I just, you know, I think that's unnecessary. I think that, you know, you can protect your family with the old pistol. I don't know much about guns, but they held 6 bullets. And I think that's enough to protect your family. You don't need something that shoots rounds and rounds and rounds of ammo. I mean, you're not at war. You know, you need to stop 1, maybe 2 people. You don't have to stop an army. So, I don't see the point in having those type of weapons. But at the same time, they've been manufactured. They're out there. You can stop making them, but it's going to be hard to confiscate them. But I also don't think the answer is to continue making them. Anyway, there's people that want to make it go away. And unfortunately, the NRA is giving a lot of money to politicians. They're lobbying Congress, paying off these politicians so that they don't ban these assault weapons. All right? And so the Democrats are worse than the Republicans because they are hypocrites. They say they want gun control, yet they're probably taking money from the NRA. I don't know that. But what I do know is the Democrats have had control of Congress on several occasions. And they could have done something about it then, and they didn't. All right? So the only way those who really want gun control to happen, the only way they see that Congress could be pressured to do what in their belief is the right thing is to create some type of horrible situation where there's a public outcry and people demanding that congressmen make the change. And, you know, we the people have power when, you know, when our voices are united on a subject. And I think that when there's a mass shooting, people freak out, people demand action. And that's what a lot of these students at Stoneman Douglas High School did last week. They met with the president. There was another meeting where Senator Bill Nelson was there, Senator Marco Rubio, those are Florida senators, they were there to hear the students out. And so if there isn't any true shootings going on, then everybody is going to be comfortable and they are going to allow the status quo to continue. And those people who want gun control are not going to have their way. So what do? They manufacture a gun shooting. Now, I'm not saying I believe that to be true. I don't know. But I do know that I tried to do some independent investigation. And, you know, I would just think that these teenagers would have had Facebook pages or something. And, you know, I've only done a search of 3. Maybe I need to do more. You know, maybe one of you need to get software that has face recognition. You know, somebody has to use face recognition software and take these pictures of these victims and see if it matches up to anyone of any other name. You know, if I know it's possible, and again, I'm torn because I want it to be true because I don't really want to believe that 17 people, young people, died. But I also want it to be false because to believe that someone would perpetrate such a hoax is just morbid and appallingly disgusting that anybody would do that. All in the name of trying to advance gun control. It's disgusting. At the same time, if I was to say, yes, that's what's happening, then if I'm mistaken, then I am telling these families who have lost someone and their families that not only did they not die, for me to accept what I read, that their birth certificates could not be found, then I'm also saying that they were never even born. Now, can you imagine how supremely insulting that would be and painful for people to hear about someone that they really did lose? You know, so, you know, these truthers, they need to be heard, but don't be so quick to accept what they say as fact. I'm not willing, but it is something that makes me go, you know. But it really, what disturbs me is that I've always believed that you can believe what you hear on the news. And for the last year or two, we keep hearing about fake news. And, you know, I like to do these videos and express my opinion based on facts, but I'm beginning to think that, you know, that a lot of these facts could be fake news. And, you know, my opinion is invalidated when it's based on things that are not even true. I feel like it's a waste of my time to discuss it. So, I mean, this is going back to 9/11. There's people that they're saying that that didn't happen. There's people that are saying that the death of President John F. Kennedy was a conspiracy and more than one person was involved. You know, there's also a variation of truthers called birthers, people that believe that President Obama wasn't really born in the United States even after he had produced his birth certificate, you know, and you never know really what to believe. You know, I don't know if it's the Russians that are doing it. You know, there were things that were being said about Hillary Clinton that I repeated. Some of them were outrageous, and I was thinking, I don't know if this one's true, but a lot of the other things I did believe, and maybe some of them I shouldn't have. I don't know, but you know, it's like, it just makes me feel like I shouldn't even talk about these things anymore because I don't know that I have the facts. You know, so we have to do a better job of searching for the truth. It's sad, you know. We want to take an interest, and we think that if we just watch the evening news from 6 to 7, we're going to get the truth and we're going to hear everything that we need to know. But what we're hearing is a lot of people just trying to advocate for a specific point of view, and some of the facts aren't even true, or they're distorted, and that is really disturbing. And I really hope that this is not going to be the new norm, and that in time it'll blow over. But right now there's an alternative news on the internet competing with the traditional news that we've come to accept, and it's leading us to question whether traditional news can really be relied on. And I feel in the middle, and it's very frustrating. But anyway, thank you for hearing me out, and search for the truth. Search for the truth, and have an open mind, and be willing to listen to differing point of views. The truth is out there, but it's not easy to find. Thank you.